what takes place as a result of intercourse between a man and a woman. Because you have heard it written, thou shalt not commit adultery. Now, outside of the obvious breaking of loyalty between a husband and a wife, what are the true and deeper meanings behind the reasoning for this commandment to be in place? What actually happens when an individual has more than one sexual partner? Because you have heard it written, for this purpose, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This is a mystery. What is the mystery behind the joining of man and woman during intercourse? Let's find out.
Just one more time. Just one more time.
Welcome. Today, we wish to discover what happens every time a man and a woman are joined together during intercourse. What happens every time you engage in intercourse, sexual intercourse with someone, spiritually? What takes place? In order to understand this, let's first read this verse. It is written, he who receives a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward. And he who receives a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. So now, it is important to take note that there are those who are called righteous. There are those who are called prophets. It is also written here, have I not chosen you 12? Yet is one of you not a devil? You see here that Jesus was calling one of the 12 disciples a devil. We know that he was referring to Judas. So now, there are those who are considered in the category of what we call devil. There are those who are considered righteous. There are those who are said to be called prophets. Now, why is this verse relevant? Everyone has what follows you. You have what follows you everywhere you go. You have what you are, what makes you up, what follows you. And what follows you, to go a little bit deeper, consists of every action you have ever taken and what follows those actions. To even go a bit deeper, you have heard of the verse where God says, as it is written, I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God. I'm paraphrasing, I'm not going to quote exactly, but it says, I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers on the children unto the third and fourth generation, but showing loving kindness to those who love me. So note, he's visiting the iniquities of the fathers to the children of those who hate him, but he's showing loving kindness to generations, to those who love him. All right, I'm going to tie everything up because there is what follows you, and what follows you, I just explained, is the manifestation of your actions and what your actions bring to you, what the result of your actions, what follows your actions. All right, now, do you know that what follows you can also include what followed your father, what followed your father's father, what followed your forefathers, your generations? The iniquities can be visited to you, or their good can also be visited to you. So you are the combination. What makes you, what follows you, what category you fit in, whether they call you righteous or prophet, whatever it is, what makes you is your actions and what follows your actions, which can also include the actions of your parents and your forefathers. By activating, now you can either activate what follows your parents and your forefathers, your generation. You can activate what followed them to follow you, or you can deactivate it and keep them dormant. You understand? So you are the combination. What makes you, what follows you, is all your actions and what follows your actions, and which can also include the actions of your parents and your generations. Should you activate those things? And you read what the Lord said about visiting the iniquities. One of the ways you can activate what followed your parents, what followed your grandparents, what followed your generation, the evil, the iniquity, one of the ways you can activate it is by expressing hate. This is not a subject on visiting the iniquities of parents and stuff to children, but you can activate those things by your actions, by manifesting hate. Then you will call forth what follows your parents and your grandparents and all of that to now fall on you, to now follow you. You understand? So everyone has what follows them, and those are the results of your actions and what follows your actions. Now, once that is combined, the results of all your actions and what follows them, once you have combined all those things It makes what we call what you are, your essence, your core, what follows you everywhere you go. Because what follows you everywhere you go is your actions, and what follows your actions. You understand? So that is who you are now. That is what makes you, that is what makes for your manifestations on earth and what happens to you in this physical plane. Now, based on that, you can be given what we call, you can fit under the category of what we call the righteous. You can fit under the category of what we call devils. Now, when it comes to this planet, and hear this carefully, on this entire planet, there is only one activity that can be performed that simultaneously joins and concentrates all of your senses together at once. This activity is called intercourse. During intercourse, you and the other person involved, you are joining all of what is happening is that all of your senses are being concentrated. Both your senses and the other person's senses. Both of your senses, all of them, are being concentrated and joined in that one act. And what happens is when both senses together are being joined and concentrated at the same time in that one act, that causes who you are to split into two. And what happens is half of you goes to the other person and half of the other person comes to you. All right? So half of yourself, what follows you, is attached instantly to the person whose senses is being joined with yours at the same time, being stimulated to that degree. Half of you joins to that person, half of the person joins to you. When that takes place, you have now become one, because it is written, the two shall become one flesh. The only way two individuals can become one flesh is if 50% of themselves leaves and attaches to the other person, and 50% of the other person leaves and attaches to you. That is the only way two of you can become one flesh. Now, what takes place after both of you have become one, after 50% has left you and 50% of the other person has left them to join yourself? So what happens when both of you become one? Let's find out. So now, in order to find out, I'm going to sketch something on this paper to give you a visual representation of what is going to take place. So, here is a visual representation of what takes place when you have intercourse. And what happens when you swap 50% of yourselves the first time. So this is when an individual has intercourse with somebody one time. What takes place? This here represents the man, and this here represents this green here represents everything that follows the man. The man's essence, the man's core identity, and everything that follows the man. Now, this here represents the woman, the woman's essence, the woman's core identity, and everything that follows the woman. So this is the woman, and this is what follows the woman, this right here. When you engage in intercourse, what happens is, I just explained that both your senses together are being stimulated and are concentrated and are joined at once in that act. God only made sex the only act that is able to do that, because the greatest form of sensation is not outside the body, but it's inside the body. You understand that during the act, when the man goes into the woman and the woman swallows the man, you have physically even become one. That is a physical representation of what has taken place spiritually, that you are now one. When you come back out again, what you are saying is, now I am no longer one. I am no longer an individual person. By joining yourself, you are saying, I have now become one with this person. By coming back out, you are saying, now I am half of this person, and that person is half of you. Now, what happens after you join yourself with somebody, and what you are split into two and join yourselves, and you become one? This is what happens. The man, half of the man leaves, half of the woman leaves. And now, the man is now made of 50% himself, 50% the woman. The woman is now made of 50% herself, 50% the man. So, it says the two shall become one flesh. Individually, you are the same. You are literally the same. Individually, you are the same. So whether the man is in Canada and the woman is in Nigeria, you are one. So what it means is that 50% of what follows the woman will stay with her, and 50% of what follows the man will now attach to her. This can include 50% of what follows the man's 50% what follows the man, which can include what follows the man's father and the man's father's father and the man's ancestry background. The man, 50% of what follows him stays, 50% of what follows the woman stays, which can also include 50%, which can also include, rather, the iniquities. What follows the actions of the iniquities of the forefathers? What follows the ancestors? That can also be included in this 50%. So now, let's go a bit deeper to show you what now takes place. So now, when this happens and you are joined together, let's say now, in the ancestry line of the woman, they've committed some theft. They've stole a lot, and it accumulated. And a judgment was now passed as a result of it, that in this family, they must experience lack and theft. I mean, they must experience lack. All right? Now, it happens that this woman, this is what follows her from her ancestry line, and she has not rectified it. She has not applied the blood of Jesus. She has not activated what Jesus came to do. She has not rectified this situation. So this judgment is still active. So this woman sees lack in her life. She sees debt, and this lack can manifest as debt. A lot of debt issues in their life because they've not rectified that. They've not solved that issue. You understand? So there is still, and now let's just say that this woman, because these things need to be activated. Okay? So now let's just say what led for the theft in the family was envy. Okay? So a family member, an ancestor was envious of somebody else, and through that route, they went to steal what didn't belong to them. And because of that, it reached a certain degree, and judgment was passed that in this family, they must have lack. In this family, they must have. So now, this woman now went to, because you can activate what follows your forefathers by manifesting what was used to cause that action. So let's say now, in her family, like I just said, that ancestor manifested envy, and as a result of envy, that action was taken. When this woman, now anytime this woman manifests envy, it can activate the iniquity of her ancestor, that theft. The consequence of that iniquity can activate that consequence to come on her. And so that is the legal ground the enemy can use to invite lack in her life. Let's say she's working with God, she's doing well, and she's not more envious so much like that. Then she will see less lack. She will not see it again. But anytime she acts in envy, she can activate the iniquity of her forefathers. And that will be a legal ground the enemy can use to bring the lack to suffer, to follow her. So now, let's say that this woman has this lack following her. Now, this woman now comes to join with the man. When the woman joins the man, because 50% of what follows her, which includes this lack, but it's not limited to, okay? 50% of what follows her is now attached to the man. The man never experienced lack before. That wasn't part of his own issues. Now, the man is going to start experiencing lack in his life. He's going to start having debts. Things are going to start drying up. Things are going to start leaving him because he has joined himself with somebody. You understand? Now, one of the reasons why this is dangerous is because anytime you join yourself with somebody, now, as a result of this join, where one man and one woman join themselves together, do you know that anytime the person you've joined yourself with goes to perform an action, whatever follows that action, you're going to receive a 50% portion, assuming it's only one man and one woman, first time, 50% you are joined. You are going to receive a 50% portion. You understand? Every time that person goes to manifest an action. Now, if it's good, you receive good. If it's not good and it's evil, and judgments follow their actions, you receive it. You understand? So when you hear God give commandments like, husbands, love your wife. If a husband loves his wife, knowing very well that what he's going to do can invite a judgment on his wife, and she will receive a 50% portion, he'll be careful. And when you hear commandments like, wives, submit to your husbands. If a wife knows that if she rebels and she performs an action that is going to affect her husband negatively, then she will submit to the authority of God. You understand? So now, let's get this. What happens if you have intercourse again with the same person a second time and a third time? What happens? Now, let's find out. So, this is the first time. You are literally one. So let me show you this in other words. Now, the combination of the new woman which is 50% himself, 50% the man, and the combination of the new man, which is 50% himself, 50% the woman. The combination is what makes this. So this is the new man and the new woman. This. Because you can think of this like the mixture of this and this. So this. So now, this is the new man, this is the new woman. This is what they've become. You understand? So now, this is what they've become. So now, what happens when a man and a woman engage in intercourse again another time? What they're going to do is they're going to give 50%. They're going to split into half again. When they split into half again, what's going to happen is they're going to give 25% of this. 25%. So the woman will give 25% of what belongs to her and give 25% of what belongs to the man back to him. And the man will give 25% of what belongs to him and 25% of what belongs to the woman. So when you pick one person and you join yourself once, what I'm trying to say is that you are already joined. You are joined with that person. So having intercourse with the same person again, you are not changing much. You are just recycling what is already your essence because you are already one. Because by joining yourself, both of you now became this. Both of you combined, the combination of both of you, you are now this. So in the spirit, you are now one. You are now this. You are no longer pink and green. You are no longer separate. You are now one. And this is what you are. And you receive a 50% portion of both yourselves. So now, what happens if you go and you engage in intercourse with multiple people? What actually takes place? Let's find out. So now, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay? Now, this is the man. This is the woman. You had intercourse with somebody the first time. You are now made of 50% yourself, 50% the other person. Now, the woman is made of 50% herself, 50% the other person. You go and you engage in intercourse with somebody else. What you are now going to do, because you are made of 50% yourself, 50% the other person, when you're going to engage in intercourse with somebody else, you have to split again. Anytime you engage in that act, you are splitting who you are. So when you have intercourse the first time, you already split who you are. You are now 50% yourself. When you split who you are again with somebody else, you are going to give the 50% of you. You are going to give 25% of yourself to the other person. You are going to give, 25% of yourself to the other person. And you're going to give 25% of the person you slept with the first time. You're going to give 25% of that away. You understand? So when you sleep with somebody else, you are not just giving yourself. You are giving 25% of yourself and giving 25% of the other person because that's what makes you now. You are going to receive 50% of the other person, which that person, if they've had multiple sexual partners, can be a combination of a lot of people. And what follows those people? So, this is the danger of engaging in intercourse with more than one person. Because when you do that, you are inviting all the judgments that follow those people, as well as the good as well. But you are receiving a portion of everything that follows those people. Now, let's just say that in your family, you guys do well with having kids and all of that. You now go, let's say you are a woman, you now go and you join yourself with somebody, and in that person's bloodline, they've engaged in, let's say, witchcraft or evil acts where they sacrifice children. All right? So a judgment as a result of that act in their bloodline is that the children, let's say the firstborns, must be barren. They cannot have children. You understand? Let's say now you are a woman. You go, you meet a man, and the man is carrying this, right? So let's say in their bloodline, if the woman is the one that is the firstborn, the woman will be barren. If the man that is the firstborn, the man will be impotent. The man cannot have children. You are a woman, you're okay, your family lineage is good. You now go and you join yourself with somebody who is carrying a judgment in their family bloodline of that judgment of barrenness, where they cannot have children. And you join yourself. and you receive half of what follows that individual. And part of what follows that individual is that they must not have children. And that has not been rectified. That judgment has not been overcome. That judgment is still active. And you join yourself, so you receive a portion of that. So you now find that you're going to start finding out that you are barren. So a woman like this never had any issues. It's not supposed to have issues. Later on in life, this woman is trying to have children and she's having issues because she attached herself. She joined herself with this. Now, there is nothing God cannot solve. God can solve every issue. All issues can be fixed. But what I'm saying is the danger of this is if you go and you attach yourself with multiple people and you're joining yourself with multiple people, you are inviting everything that follows their actions, which may or may not include the actions and iniquities of their forefathers and their generations. So, this is very important for you to know that when it comes time for the beings, the angelic ones, to reward the actions of people, all right, they are rewarding you based on where your essence is found, where you are found. So if you are found in another body, part of your judgments and part of your rewards, if it's good for your good works, are going to now go to that person, and part will come to you. If there is a judgment that is to take place, all right, let's say to somebody you've joined yourself with, these beings are not going to see bodies. These beings are going to look for essence. And if the essence of somebody who did an evil work, and the judgment is about to be poured on that person for the evil work, if that essence of that person is found in you, to whatever degree, to whatever amount, you are going to receive a portion of that judgment. Because they're not seeing bodies, they're seeing essence. So it's wherever your essence is found, that your works will be rewarded and your judgments will go to. You understand? So it is not wise to join yourself to people. Because each time you are diluting yourself. Let's say you are somebody, you have good works, you live right. Good things follow you wherever you go. You see a good measure of favor, you see a good measure of blessings, you have a good measure of peace. You go and you join yourself with somebody who has the opposite life. You are now going to dilute part of your good. You are going to give half of your good, half of what follows you away, and you are going to receive half of that person. You are diluting yourself. So each person you join yourself with, you are diluting yourself with that person, diluting yourself. By the time you know what is going to become of you, you are filled with so many problems that you did not do directly. Because anytime those people go to do something, manifest an action, you are receiving a portion. And you can activate their judgments on yourself by manifesting your carnal proclivities, by manifesting your fleshly propensities, like hate, by acting out of anger, by acting in selfishness, by acting out of lust. Anytime you do those things, whatever actions, as a result of those things that you are doing, whatever actions were taken in the bloodline, you can activate the iniquities on yourself. You understand? That is why you want to keep it with a husband or a wife only. One person. Because the moment you join yourself with one person, a husband or a wife, then every time you have intercourse with a person, you are now one, you are just exchanging yourselves, you are now one. So ensure that both of you are now living right. Both of you are now doing what is good. Then, as a result of your actions, your joint actions that both of you are doing together, that will invite good things for you. So let's say you are somebody that you've lived this type of life in the past. Now you found God. Now you want to make things right. Now you found one wife. You join yourself with a wife. You say you want to stick with somebody. How do you avoid these other people that you slept with in the past? How do you avoid the judgments and how do you live right? How is everything well? Here's what you do. You read the scripture where God says, I will show loving kindness to those who love me. You understand? That love there represents obeying his rules, living right, walking in love, walking in peace, walking in mercy, walking in joy. When you walk and obey the laws of God, then you will activate the good of your forefathers. The good of your forefathers. The good of God, the loving kindness of God to fall upon you. But when you walk in hate, when he says, I will visit the iniquities of the third and fourth, to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, when he says that, what he is saying. That hate there represents disobeying the rules, acting out of your fleshly and carnal proclivities and propensities, manifesting terrible things. You are inviting all those things to yourself and the things of others to yourself. And this is one of the major causes of sickness, debt, accidents, barrenness, and so many other issues. Sometimes the mercy of God can reduce some of those judgments and minimize it so that when you are getting up from your bed, you hit your toe on the bed. That is an act of God's mercy, because perhaps maybe one time, you showed mercy to somebody. And so because of that, what should have been an accident or a broken leg was depotentized, was minimized to a hit on your bed of your toe. Sometimes somebody's judgments, because of God's mercy, because you showed mercy before, because that's how mercy works. You have to show mercy before. Because of somebody, because of your mercy you showed before, God can reduce it to you are cutting some onions, some tomatoes, some lettuce, and you cut your hand. These are all acts of mercy. This is one of the reasons why God always speaks against hateful things, against pride, because those things invite problems to you. That is one of the main causes of problems. One of them is because you manifest anger, you manifest grudges in your heart, unforgiveness, hate, those things. It will invite the iniquities, the consequences of the iniquities of the forefathers of everyone you have been joined with, as well as yourself, upon your head. So walk in love. That's what I'm saying. Walk in peace. Choose the way of God. And you see that all these problems will start leaving you. Your life will just start collecting itself, like the hedge that you have. Things will start leaving you because you're just obeying the rules of God. Obeying the rules of God, walking in love, in peace. Those things are like a hedge that keeps the serpent from biting. But you manifest the carnal propensities. You manifest hate, lust, selfishness, pride. Then you are breaking the hedge. Then the serpents, representing the devils, representing the judgments, because the serpents represent the devils. The devils carry the judgments of the sins of the forefathers and iniquities. Then the serpent will bite you because you have broken the hedge. So I hope you're able to get the point of this. Walk in love, walk in peace, walk in joy. Follow the laws of God and you will be protected from a lot of things that you may not know, because it is written, my people perish for lack of knowledge. This is one of the knowledge that some of God's people may be lacking. And so because of that, when we act out of the flesh and we act in anger and things like that, we don't know what's happening spiritually and what problems we are bringing. So it's better to just obey the rules of God. It is there to help us to progress in fulfilling the will of God by removing a lot of problems that we don't need to have. If a lot of these problems are removed, you will fulfill the will of God easier. That is why God brings these rules. It is not because it's going to affect him. God has other things to concern himself with. It is to protect you so that then you can fulfill the will of God.